British American Tobacco is the world's second largest listed tobacco group. It was created from the merger of Rembrandt, Rothmans International and Imperial Tobacco under the leadership of Anton Rupert. It has a market cap of 985.3 billion rand, a price to earnings ratio of 18.6 and a dividend yield of 3.2%. Well, this is the big one. Daniel, let's kick off with your thoughts on BAT.
So I think that Paul made a very valid point in that that's how a lot of these guys grow their top line. They basically move their customers up the premium ladder. So they have a growing top line from a changing mix in their products as guys buy the more expensive premium products. BAT has been able to do this exceptionally well. They recently came out with results, and the results were above expectations. There was a good increase in the margin. They've guided that they are going to carry on increasing the margin going forward. A healthy dividend payment. I think this is a great stock in this market.
And a one-way direction for the share price here, Paul.
Look, I think we must understand what we're talking about here. This is a billion rand market cap company, a trillion almost, beg your pardon, billion. What am I talking about? It has positioned itself in London.
It must be the Cape Town weather.
I must be dividing by 1,000. So, I mean, it's really done brilliantly well. It owns assets in the United States. It owns assets all over Europe. And in recent years, what it's done is it's done exactly that. It's gone into countries like Indonesia and Turkey and Russia and other places where it's bought fairly clapped out kind of low brand value production of cigarette businesses. And it's brought its four main global brands, its sort of lead brands, Lucky Strike, Pall Mall, Rothmans and so on. And it's kind of taken people up the value chain and so on and so forth. But. For me, my main worry here is this thing is being priced like a growth stock on the assumption that these good times will continue forever. And what we do know out there in the real world is that governments are moving to curtail smoking in public places, to curtail cigarette sales to youngsters. So I'm deeply worried that this is an industry that is basically in its sunset phase and ought to have a very low PE and an exceptionally high dividend yield to compensate you for the fact that the road is running out. That's my concern, and I really want to put to Daniel that this is not a stock that could be considered hot under any circumstances.
But Daniel, I've been hearing that old argument ever since I started my broadcasting career, which now goes back many, many years.
I'm sure you have. I've been hearing that argument myself. I would have to respectfully disagree with Paul.
Notice he says respectfully, Paul.
There are quite a few issues facing the industry. There have always been these issues facing the industry. They are more prevalent in the developed markets. BAT has a great exposure to developing markets where these sort of regulations aren't going to come around for quite a while. They also mentioned that they have not seen any specific change in buying patterns in Australia where the plain packaging has been instituted, so that hasn't as of yet affected them. And I think that they've got the ability to, they're not a growth stock from the point of view that the sector's growing, but they've got the ability to grow earnings. And I think that you have to price for that ability to continually grow earnings every year through price mix, through moving customers up the premium chain, through expanding your margins, through paying a high dividend.
Look, Paul, the bottom line is that the share price movement really doesn't hold weight when you look at your argument. It's going one way, and it's a very steep curve into that move higher.
Yeah. No, and we had a short position in the hot stocks portfolio, which got blown out in the course of Monday's trade at 480. So, look, the fact is in London they've been fairly strong, but they've been aided significantly by the weakening rand in recent months.
So your negativity is really being fueled. Your negativity is being fueled by the fact that the share price moved in the wrong direction, and you're licking your wounds.
No. Look, as far as the regulations are concerned, they are in fact tightening in countries like Russia. You know, in Russia, they've got such terrible weather and they're all addicted to vodka. So smoking is like one of the byproducts of that lifestyle. But even in Russia, they've moved, in fact, now to ban smoking in certain places and to tighten things up. Yes, it's true. They went into places like Indonesia and bought that business Bentoel. In Indonesia, when you come of age as a young man, you get taught how to smoke. That kind of thing is going to be phased out in the forthcoming years. And yes, you can convert the
Daniel,
Indonesians
I want
with
more
their BDs
respectful
into smoking
disagreement.
Pall Mall.
I want more respectful disagreement with Paul here. I'm asking Daniel for more respectful disagreement in terms of BAT and the value offering here.
So first of all, I'd just like to say that I think that when the short position was put on, I think I was on the show and I did disagree at the time with the position.
Take that, Paul.
Absolutely,
Take
not
that.
your fault. No, he's right.
I agree with everything Paul's saying, but I think it's such a long-term structural story that's still got to run years and years, that the value at the moment, it's still offering you good value for the medium term, for the next good couple of years. You're still going to get a lot of value out of the stock. I have no doubt that in the next 30 years, the smoking world is going to be a different world to what we see currently, but I don't think that's going to be the case in the next 5 to 10 years.
Hot or not, Paul?
Not hot on this one, but I do feel that Daniel has made good points. So I'm not roaring to jump back into that short, but definitely not hot.